Alright, let's get started on this waffle stitch blanket. This is Bernat Forever Fleece Finest. If you see my other videos, you know that I love the Bernat Forever Fleece in the super bulky 6-weight. This is 4-weight. It's a green heather. It has, I think that's what it's called, leaf green heather. And it has a little bit of white running through it. You don't have to make a border at all, but if you want to, I just happen to have some Red Heart Soft in white available. And it's very similar in, it's a 4-weight, it's very similar in size, maybe a little bit thicker, and it's also very soft, so very similar in feel. I used a 5mm hook for most of it, and a 4mm hook for the border. Again, you don't have to make a border if you don't want to. I just thought it framed it out nicely. This Forever Fleece Finest has 888 yards, which just sounds like so much, but it's such a lightweight yarn. I ended up using about 4 1/3. This is what's left of the 4th skein, and just a little bit of the white because I only used it for one round of border. So let's get started on this waffle stitch. Okay, you're going to chain any multiple of 3 plus 2 more at the end. I chained 182 for my blanket, and at first it was 52 inches wide, but the pattern brings it in a bit at the sides, and it ended up being 48 inches wide before the border. So I just made a little sample size here. You're going to come into the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can come into the chain if you want. I like coming into the back bump. A little bit harder with this lighter weight yarn, and it's fuzzy. We're going to do all double crochet, so yarn over. Either go into your chain or go into that back bump. I like the back bump because it makes a nice foundation. Go through 2 and go through 2 loops. If you don't know where your back bump is, turn it back over, find your chain. There's your next chain. Turn it over. There's, I'm trying to get a clear shot of it. It's so fuzzy you can't see it. I can just feel it. Yarn over, go into that back bump. Pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, all double crochet. If you want to just go into this front of the chain, you can certainly do that. I'm just so used to doing it this way. Most of my blankets are done in super bulky or even jumbo yarn. So to switch back to a 4-weight was a little tricky for me. And then also being fuzzy like this makes it a little hard to see the stitches. However, oh my goodness, is it soft. It is so, so soft. All right, so you're going to go in each chain all the way across, however wide you have made your chain. I'll meet you at the end of row 1. I'm at the end of row 1. I'm not going to chain. We're going to make a stacked single crochet, or it's also called a chainless double crochet. You're going to go into that very first stitch, pull your yarn through. You have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. That's just a regular old single crochet. Now you're going to go into that left loop of the single crochet you just made. Pull your yarn through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and come through those 2 loops. You've made another single crochet, and that's why it's called a stacked single crochet. You can just make chain 2 if you want to. This looks a lot more like a double crochet, and when you come back around it's easier to work into the stitch at the top. Okay, we're going to go into this double crochet from the previous row. Yarn over. These are all going to be double crochet. This is going to be front post. Means you're going to push that post to the front. Yarn over, pull your yarn through, bring your loop up even with the others so it doesn't pull on you. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. All right. You want to make sure that you skip the stitch behind the front post that you just made. So now we're going to come into the next stitch with a double crochet and the next stitch double crochet. So the pattern for row 2 is 1 front post double crochet, 2 regular double crochet. Okay, now you're going to skip, there's your front post, skip these 2, yarn over, make your next front post, go behind it, pull it to the front, yarn over, pull that loop up, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Skip that stitch right behind it. So we're going to come into this stitch right here, yarn over. It's time for 2 double crochet. 1, 2. Okay, so now skip these 2. There was your front post, so skip that one, skip that one. That's going to be your next front post right here. Pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we have front post, 2 double, front post double, 2 double, front post double, and another 2 double. And that's the way it is all the way across row 2. This is going to be a repeat of rows 2 and 3 all the way. You can see why you needed 3, a multiple of 3. You're working in 3s the whole way. This particular row, your 3 stitches are front post and 2 double. It's going to be the opposite when we get to the back. So continue this all the way to the end, and again, there will be no chain at the end. I'll meet you at the end of row 2. We're at the end of row 2. I have made my front post double crochet, 2 double crochet, and I have 2 left. Remember, this was where we skipped over to the 4th chain, so that counts as a double crochet. So this is going to be a front post double crochet, and your very last stitch will be a double crochet. It's going to be the same as you started. Oops. And see, this is why it's better to that's just a chain, so it's much better to have that stacked single crochet. You'll see when we come back around. So there's your row 2. Obviously yours is much longer unless you're making a tiny little doll blanket. So for row 3, turn. This is how it looks in the back. And it's going to be just the opposite. Let's go into that very first stitch with a stacked single crochet. You have 2 loops. Turn over and pull through those 2 loops. Find the left loop of that single crochet, pull through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, and there's your stacked single. Now, instead of doing 1 front post and 2 back regular double crochets, we're going to do 2 regular or 2 front posts here, and then a regular, and then 2 front posts. Remember, at the end we had 1 double crochet in 1 front post, and it's the same here. So now you can see that's pushed to the back. That's going to be just a plain old double crochet. And where these are pushed, those were double crochets, just plain double crochets back here. You can see they're kind of pushed forward on this side. Those are going to be front post. The more rows you do, the faster you're going to get, because you can just see it. You don't even have to tell yourself what you're doing. Front post double crochet and another front post double crochet. So your series of 3 now is going to be 2 front post double crochet, 1 regular double crochet. And you can see them now. See how that's pushed forward? That one goes away from you. 2 front post. Remember to bring your loops up even with the others. 1, that was 2 front post and a regular double crochet, and you can see that one from the previous row was pushed to the back because on the other side it was a front post. Is that clear as mud? All right, 2 front post. Again, you can watch the video that I made just on the waffle stitch if that helps you more to see it with the chunky yarn. And 1 double crochet. It gets so much easier now, and it's just a repeat of rows 2 and 3 now. Okay, we're at the end of row 3. You have your double front post double crochets and then your space in between. We're gonna turn, no chain. Now when you turn back over, remember we're just going to do rows 2 and 3, 2 and 3, all the way up. When you turn it back over after doing row 3, you have a half a waffle stitch. So now we'll complete that waffle stitch. I'm going to make stacked, oops, single, hang on, go in that left loop. I was looking at the camera, not my crochet. And now we're going to go back to 1 front post double crochet and 2 regular double crochet. This sample is just a little bit smaller than the one I was working on. I thought I had finished the video and I had some technical difficulties with audio. So I decided to come back and do it again. You're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3. And now you can see, you can tell where to put your front posts double crochets and your regular double crochets quite easily. The double crochet goes in the stitch that looks like it's pushed back, and the front post double crochet goes in the one that's pushed to the front. It gets easier and easier. And there's your waffle, your squares, little shadow boxes. Two double. Your last 2 stitches you have, if you're confused, look down here. Look at your waffle. You're going to do front post, double crochet, and then just a regular double crochet in the top of that stacked single from the row below. We're not going to chain at the end of any of our rows. Just going to turn and do stacked singles. So you're going to continue that rows 2 and 3 as long as you wanted. I made mine 55 inches, so it ended up being 48 inches wide, 55 inches long before I did the border. The border's not very big. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that I can come back and show you the border. Again, don't have to do a border, just nice and straight. So nice and lightweight and soft. Just love this. Perfect for spring. So I'll come back when mine's a little bit bigger. We're going to pretend that this is a big blanket. I just want to show you how I made the border. You want to end on a whole waffle square row. All right, chain 1. We're going to come into this corner stitch with a single crochet, chain 1, and a single crochet. Keep your corners loose. I liked my corners to be kind of squared off. I wanted this to be kind of tailored looking. But if you want a more rounded border, you can do 2 single crochet, chain 1, and 2 single crochet, all in the same corner stitch. Now you're just going to come down along that edge, find your stitches. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be any certain number of stitches. Generally speaking, there's going to be 2 to 3 in each row. Just kind of feel around. All single crochet. You're going to go on one side of that ridge there and then the other side. If you find that it's puckering, then you don't have enough stitches. If you find that it's kind of making a ruffle, you've made probably too many stitches. If it's just nice and straight, you have it. Like I said, I didn't count the stitches. I try to keep things as easy as possible. Work our way back up to that corner. All right, that's my corner stitch, so I'm going to, actually I'm going to go right up to the next one. If I make a corner stitch here, it's going to bend down too far. So let's go into that, actually the very first stitch of this row. Single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. Another tip to keep your corners from being too tight, the stitch before your corner and your corner stitches and the stitch after your corner, make those a bit looser than the rest of your stitches. All right, now we're just going to continue on with all single crochets. All right, when you reach the corner, make your single crochet, chain 1, single crochet here in the corner. Go down, do the same thing in this corner, and come around. And I'll meet you when we get back to that very first corner. All right, I've made my way back to my very first corner. And I know from making this that that was a very long way to go. When you get to that first stitch, come in and just slip stitch those together. Make a chain. We're just gonna fasten off here. You can work that tail in. Now, if you want to stop there, you've made a nice finished edge. You can certainly stop there. I just wanted to continue and make a little bit more of a frame. Okay, I'm switching over to my 4mm hook. I'm going to bring in my white yarn, make a little slip knot, find my corner chain here. Actually, I want to bring that in from the back. It works out a little bit better that way. Chain one. We're going to switch over to half double crochet now. I'm going to bring both of these tails along just for a couple of stitches. Now in this corner space, a little on the loose side, make half double, chain, half double. Make that chain a little bit loose so you can find it later. Turn the corner here. Now you have some really nice single crochet stitches to work into. These are going to be all half double, all in your single crochets. Get rid of those tails. Half doubles all the way around. Let me cut that tail because it's going to annoy me. Make sure you don't cut your stitches. All right. Half double crochet in each single crochet. I'm sorry if you don't know half double, you yarn over, go into your stitch, pull your yarn through, 3 loops on your hook, and pull through all 3. Should have told you that at the corner. Half double. It's going to seem like forever on the big blanket, especially since you're so close to being done. I thought it was worth the effort because I thought it looked really nice. There's my chain stitch over there. Yes. So you might want to make a chain too to make that a little clearer. There's my chain. Half double. Chain 1, half double, and turn. And we're starting again. If it puckers too much when you get near the corner, make sure that your stitch before the corner, your stitches in the corner, and your stitch after the corner are a little on the loose side, looser than the rest of your stitches. So continue that. Half double crochet each stitch, and then half double crochet chain 1 or chain 2 in each corner. And I'll meet you when we get back to that very first corner, and we'll be on our last round. All right, I'm back to the very first corner. I'll find my first stitch here. Come in. See if I showed you. I'm not sure that was on camera. Go in that stitch, pull through with a slip stitch. Chain 1. We're not going to bother with an invisible join. Just don't seem to need it on this particular pattern. So there's what it looks like so far. We're going to move on to the green, back to the green for our last round. Let me see if I can get this up a little higher. It wants to fall when I do that. All right. I've had to move from what I laughingly call my studio. It's actually a folding desk in my guest room, and my guest room is going to be used fairly soon for my son and daughter-in-law while they're building a house. So I cleared it out. I'm in a different room. All right, slip knot. we're going to come through that chain space. Bring your slip knot through and tighten that up. There we go. Chain 1 in that very same space, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. There. You get that back in focus. Now we're going to be going in between each half double crochet. Normally you would be going here under the front and the back loop and over that little bar. But we are going to be going right here under that bar, in between each, with a simple single crochet. It's going to be a fast, well, relatively fast round. Just single crochets in between each and every half double crochet. When you get to the corners, we'll just make another corner with single crochet. It's cute. It ends up looking like little dots. Here's my chain 1 space. So I'm going to make a single crochet, pretty loose, chain, single crochet, and turn the corner. Again, working in between each half double with a single. Whenever you get to a corner space, make your corner. Isn't that pretty? I think it added a lot. What do you think? Keep going. Make your corners, and I'll meet you when we get back to that very first corner. I'm back at the very first corner, and I'm simply going to join that first stitch with a slip stitch. You could do an invisible join here if you want to. I did not feel like I needed to. The yarn is thin enough that it doesn't leave much of a knot. I did, however, weave in that end on my blanket, my big blanket. See how cute that is? This is how it looks on the other side. I really feel like it just gives it that little, I'm gonna weave those in. It's just a sample though, so I'm not going to. Just that little finishing touch. Tell me what you think about it. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and any comments that you have, leave them in the comment section. I'll get back to you if you have a question as soon as I can, usually pretty quickly. I check my email pretty frequently. And the written pattern will be up shortly after I post this video. My written patterns are free with absolutely no ads on www.i-crochet.com. And if you'd like to subscribe, you'll get a notification whenever I put out a new free pattern, which is pretty frequently, once every week or two. Thanks for watching.